Have you decided to actually turn the recorder on every time too?
Yes.
Oh, well, there you go.
I learned a lesson a while back. Thank God I wasn't in Hollywood and I did that. So I can't read my handwriting. That's how excited I was about this movie. Live in the dungeon, this is the Dream Warrior Review. I'm Kurt Thomas.
I'm Mick Strawn.
And this is episode 54. A military family takes part in a groundbreaking experiment of genetic evolution and space exploration.
Woohoo!
The Titan on Netflix. And I picked it because it was brand new. And I was like, I don't know anything about this. Let's watch this one. Let's watch this one.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of not happy I did, really.
You're regretting that, aren't you?
So my first note on here.
Okay, go for it.
Radio announcement was like very early on in the movie.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. Big cheese factor is what I wrote down.
Yeah.
Bad TV movie? Question mark?
Especially the way that was. Yeah, the way that the announcement was done was there's the typical blah 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 going on in L.A. You know, earthquakes and everything. And why is it always L.A.?
But I was thinking bad TV movie.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Because how do you save money on something like that?
Right.
Well, by just saying it on the radio. Yeah. Exactly. You know what? But can I say that was a disease that ran all the way through on this film?
Yeah. I feel sorry for Tom Wilkinson. I like him.
You do?
Yeah. Of course, the last thing I remember seeing him in that he was good in was The Kennedys.
Yeah. Well,
where he played Joe Kennedy.
Oh, okay.
No, he's a good actor. I'm like, why did he do this movie? Anyway.
Yeah. That's yeah.
It was very predictable, I guess is my first thought.
It was predictable, but at least the makeup was really bad. And yeah.
It was. Aquaman was in this movie.
Right, yeah.
Oh, and by the way, I was a swimmer. So just the fact that they were showing the dolphin kick and the fact that they were all doing their perfect strokes. Well, all of a sudden they're swimmers. Yeah, I'm like, oh, that was interesting.
The strange thing is when they were doing the kicks and they were all speeded up and somebody fell in love with the optical that they did for that because
they used it a lot.
Yeah, way too much. And
and that's what I wouldn't give to stay underwater that long when I was a swimmer. That's what. Yeah. That's a side note. That's just my own thought there.
Well, you know what my note was. This is that's how I relax. I always relax at the bottom of the pool for long periods of time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
You too. Yeah.
Evolving humanity into the stars. That was the best line of the movie.
Boy,
I think that was a Wilkinson line, actually.
Yeah. You know, there was something.
And my prediction at that point, I wrote down prediction. Nobody will make it into space.
Yeah,
that was my prediction at the first, like when he said that line.
Yeah.
Yep. I was like, oh, we're 10 minutes in, but they're not going to make it.
They had this weird kind of random makeup thing that was going on that you can actually see in that photograph right there.
Yeah.
It's like random cuts and stuff
cuts
like
and
were happening to people. And the thing is there was something about it that kind of reminded me of wallpapering. Because it was like there was an evenness to it that was a little bit wrong. It wasn't like look at this. It's like there isn't an unaffected spot.
Right. Yeah.
And that kept happening all the way through the film.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah. Wasn't the best. But at least it was very long and boring. They could have cut 30 minutes out of this sucker.
Well, an hour. Maybe. Could have been a 30-minute TV show.
I was trying to be polite,
Oh, this movie was about a government experiment where they didn't tell everybody everything and they were lying to people. Shocking, isn't it?
Really?
That's a novel idea. I thought of that.
Is Trump in charge of it or what?
I don't know. The whole thing didn't make sense to me. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's
just the evolution thing. We don't actually know what we're doing. What?
Before they showed them kind of transform.
Yeah.
I like when they had the neighbor attacking the wife, and you kind of just saw a silhouette in the window.
That was going to point that out. I actually wrote that down. I wrote down that silhouette was really good.
Yeah.
And it goes to what we say all the time.
Here's that theme again.
The less that you see, the better it's going to be.
Yes, and then we saw the creatures later on.
Yeah, and we didn't care at all. No. I mean, and what a weird color. Did you notice the color that they made him before he completely turned into the creature? They had a color that they were making him that was making me uncomfortable.
Yes, yeah.
It was exactly the color of
a dead fish,
barf
maybe?
putty.
Barf putty.
Barf putty.
Interesting.
Yeah, barf putty. Man.
It was also way too easy for them to break into the facility when she broke into the military facility, and she just walked in basically.
Way too easy. And the worst shot in the film, the flat out, hands down worst shot in the film was when the military turns, the guy turns and points his gun at the bad guy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the general points his gun at the bad guy,
and they all snap,
and they all snap
into
their
place.
guns into place. I was like, oh please,
really,
come on, where did that come from?
Oh, the character transformation. This is my note on that.
Yeah,
says change, boring before, boring during, and boring after. And the guy playing the creature had no charisma.
And I wanted to add something. Where was it that he lost the ability to speak English?
Right, yeah.
Yeah, I mean...
Suddenly
Suddenly he couldn't talk. And you were like...
They communicate through tactile touches. Remember that when he said that?
Yeah, right.
He can't understand anymore.
He can't understand anymore? Really? Really? I've got a monster in the last film that we talked about that he'd like to introduce to.
Oh, then there's that scene from Species and probably what's the other one? Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. No, maybe not. No, Predator. I'm thinking of.
Yeah,
coming out of the water.
Right.
Or Apocalypse Now, I guess. Right. Apocalypse Now would be a good reference.
Right.
But yeah, that was that was interesting.
Yeah.
Anyway, not really.
Yeah. Right.
I'm just trying to see if any of my notes are worthwhile. What? Nice shot in cell box. Is it bad that I don't remember what that was? There was some shot I liked when they were in a cell, like in a box type thing.
Right.
But I don't remember what that was.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I like the house.
Oh, well, there was a reflection. That's what it was.
Oh.
Where you saw two faces. It was they're in this box, and you saw like two faces of the. I don't know. I'll think of it later.
Yeah. Get back to me on that.
We'll talk about it next year.
Please.
Better.
I like the house.
Better than Cloverfield.
It was better than
Cloverfield Paradox.
That's right. You know, if that's your touchstone for life,
Netflix needs quality control. Bad script.
It does.
Don't you think it was a bad script?
I thought it was a really boring script, but
interesting subject, very predictable, much better than Mother. That's all I had to say.
Wow, is that your other touchstone? You're kidding me.
These are my notes. I'm done.
Yeah, you're done. Yeah.
So anyway, what was your point you were going to make before I kept babbling on about this?
Yeah, I know. I was saying I like the house.
The house. Yes.
I thought the house was beautiful.
I would never live in a house that's see-through though, like on the bottom floor.
No, I wouldn't either. I think it's beautiful in that architectural digest, sort of like you'd like to see it between glossy pages way, but you wouldn't want to live there.
Plus, I don't like the idea of having motion-activated lights in every room. I like to have control over my surroundings. Sometimes I want to walk in a room where it's dark. I don't want to turn the lights on.
Yeah, I have to say though, I've gotten. I've started to hook up some of my lights to the Amazon Echo.
Yeah.
And that's actually kind of cool.
That's cool, but that's controlled. You have control over it still.
You know, you do totally. Yeah. You know, it's however, you have control to a certain extent. However, when Alexa wants to be bitchy, a little bitch, you can really. So every once in a while, man, it just really makes you go.
Well, I'm turning into my dad. I walk around. I walk around after my wife and my daughters, and I'm like, my daughter. My other daughter's not really old enough to turn on lights, but I walk around behind them and turn lights off constantly. Yeah, and I'm turning into my dad. I'm like the light police now.
Oh yeah.
So I want to install these light switches that will turn off after 10 or 15 minutes.
Oh yeah. Well,
But anyway.
Good luck with that.
I'm like, why are you leaving the
Yeah, exactly.
Or why is the door open?
Oh, no, same way.
Anyway,
You know,
my dad was like...
And the thing is I'm old and fat, and I see a light across the room, and I go, computer, turn the lamp on. And that's it. You know, I'm like, wow, this is awesome.
Right. Reminds me of Tales from the Dark Side episode.
Yeah.
Where the house was talking. It was like an early smart home. I don't know why I remember that episode.
Really?
Yeah. I remember certain episodes that I watched that show a lot.
I vaguely remember that. Why do
I think the house turned on the people that lived there and was attacking them.
Oh yeah.
It was kind of weird.
Yeah, actually I think I remember I worked on it. I worked on that show. Ugh. Oh, Pig Death. Have we talked about Pig Death Thursdays?
No. Oh yes, you did. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Was that on the show?
Because it was Slaughterhouse.
Yeah, Slaughterhouse. Right down the street from the Slaughterhouse.
Yeah.
Oh man.
They brought beer in, right? Is that right?
Yeah. It's man. Oh yeah, that's right. But yeah, the beer and all that, right? Yeah, and the prop master and yeah.
You don't have any good stories about that relate to the Titan, like?
That's a good question.
I don't know.
You know, I have an interesting
bad makeup. Good makeup.
I worked on a show that I can't remember it. It was a pilot and kind of Space Rangers. I think it was called Space Rangers.
Story time. Story time. It's story time with Mick. 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 Story time with Mick.
I was brought in specifically to build a landing craft. You know, I mean, like just a one man kind of safety boat, you know, out of the ship. You know, you're shot out of the ship, and the ship blows up, and in the meantime, you land in this little. So I was
like in Saturn III and in Cloverfield Paradox,
and everything you possibly imagine.
All those
right?
fantastic movies.
And it just happened to be that it was during the LA riots, and I was in Culver City. And I was in Culver City on this little stage, and I'm building this rocket, right? And I think it was on a Thursday. So I'm in there, and I knew that the trial was coming along, and that the verdict was being handed down that day, and you know, the city was tense. Yeah, and as the day went along, things got weirder and weirder and weirder, and we're filming, right? And then eventually we're just not filming. And we're not filming because the crew has been taking off, right? You know,
right, yeah.
And it's like there is that the show must go on, Sonny. You know, and after a while, you had the sound guy that was also covering was changing film and all the rest of that. You know, until like eventually, you know, the first AD had left, and I remember that I'm kind of like in the back, and I'm operating, and we're in that ship, right? And I'm operating the ship, you know, and
right,
and you know, nobody really tells me what's going on, and eventually I kind of come out from the bowels of, you know, where I had set, because I had made myself a little room so I could do the controls for blinking lights and all the animatronics that were inside of it, and there's only one other guy on the stage, and I guess at some point somebody had ordered pizza, because I walk out from behind, and I walk out from behind around the set, and I'm standing there with this guy, who I think was the second AD. He wasn't even the first AD, the second AD, and we're the last two people standing, right? And so we went around, we started to lock up, and as we walk out the front door, the pizza delivery guy comes up from and he had like 16 pizzas that had been ordered 3 hours before when we actually had a crew.
Right.
But it was 3 hour. It was 3 hours later because pizza was evidently getting hard to build at that point. So he walks up and he's like carrying all these pieces. He goes, "Dudes, you guys want this pizza?" And he goes, and we're like, "Okay, let's see if we can get you some money." And he goes, "Screw that, man! I'm out of here." And he just hands me the pizzas, and I'm holding 16 pizzas, and so. I'm standing there with him. We're outside of the building. We've just locked the building up. We didn't have the keys to the building, so we couldn't even get back into the building to do anything with pizzas. We're just standing there. And so he goes, so what do you want to do? And I go, well, I tell you what, let's give out a pizza to anybody that isn't carrying a TV or stolen tennis shoes in their arms. And that's exactly what we did.
That sounds like fun.
And we went out to the edge of the street, and I swear, see, this was kind of like behind.
It seems kind of dangerous. Like
it was incredibly dangerous. Don't get me wrong. I mean,
because you're a little bit lighter, maybe a lighter shade than than other people.
In the neighborhood.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about that. So the neighborhood is running by, right? You know, they had been looting, but this was behind. The stage was kind of like around the corner from like a Kmart.
Oh, okay.
Or
yeah.
Well, Kmart-like store. I think it was a thing called Fedco, but it doesn't exist anymore. But obviously, a Fedco and a whole strip mall, right? You know, and like everything that was in that strip mall was coming around the corner,
right,
and disappearing out into the neighborhood, right?
Yeah.
And we're right on that corner, right? So nobody paid any attention to us one way or the other because everybody's hands were completely full of tennis shoes and pizzas and coats and stuff. So the rule was anybody that wasn't holding something, we'd give a pizza to.
Right.
And we did. In about 10 minutes, we gave out all the pizzas, got into my car and just spent like the rest of the afternoon in traffic getting up to my house. And when I walked into my house, I just happened to see my kids watching the TV as they had gotten home from school, watching TV, watching Reginald Denny get pulled out of that truck.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I just got there in time to walk across the room and turn the TV off.
Wow.
So I was.
And your kids were young at that time.
They were very young.
Yeah, so they probably wouldn't be able to see.
It was,
probably shouldn't be watching that.
Yeah, it wasn't. Yeah, it was.
That sounds like that would be like a kind of a fun video game on the phone. Like, give the pizza.
Get out of LA.
Give the pizza to people they don't have, and then the second part would be getting out of LA.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely. And the thing is and looking and getting up on the 405, the elevated parts of the 405, and you could look back towards the city center and when I first got on the freeway, you were looking at the south of the city out there, and just the whole, it was just burning everywhere.
Yeah.
It was really weird. It was like one of those things.
Like
I have to say,
Escape from L.A. Oh, wait, that's already been done, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has been. Yeah, it was. Yeah. No, it was interesting to say the least. Yeah. L.A. did have some really, really tense times. I mean, I remember also working on Kazaam and filming Shutdown. And here's the thing. I was working on Kazaam, which is like, other than that film, it's like one of the, other than maybe 10 times that I can remember that films shut down for a day unintentionally. Right?
Yeah.
And 2 of them were on Kazaam. And here's the thing. How opposite can you get? There's 2 reasons that it shut down. It shut down one day because Jerry Garcia died, right?
Yep.
And the groups and art department left the scene. And it shut down the other day because the civil trial of O.J. Simpson, the verdict came in, and I was working on Kazaam, and in that day, everybody took off. So, I mean... Yeah, there you go. So I've been in the thick of things a couple of times.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I think I've heard that story before.
Yeah, well, not on the radio, I don't think.
The one about the 2 different reasons why people left? Yeah.
Right? Really? Oh.
I'm just letting you know. In case you want me to cut it out. Or...
Yeah, because I think that you should go check your list.
So this is why I've been keeping lists.
Yeah.
But I was like, that sounds really familiar. I think I've heard that before.
By the way, just to be mentioned, just for the hell of it, the one film that I keep wanting to go back and see again, and I saw several times, is Jumanji. I mean,
the first one?
No, the second one.
Oh, the second one.
The second one. For some reason, I really got a thing about that film.
Huh.
It was.
Maybe you have a crush on The Rock.
Well,
I mean, who doesn't nowadays?
A thirst that'll never be quenched.
Thank you for listening to the Dream Warrior Review. As always, you can reach us at Gmail at dreamwarriorreview@gmail.com, or you can find us on Twitter at DW Review, and of course, we're on Facebook. Until next time.